I want to begin with a question that has the power to change the way you lead. Think about every place you've ever worked. Now ask yourself this: where did you truly feel like you belonged? Not where you were employed, not where you received a paycheck. Where did you feel seen? Where did you feel respected? Where did you feel like your voice mattered? Where did you feel like you could be yourself without pretending to be someone else? If you've ever experienced that, you know how powerful it is. And if you've never experienced it, then you also know how painful its absence can be. That feeling is what we're talking about today. Belonging. And I want you to hear me clearly. Inclusion is not simply inviting people into the room. Inclusion is creating an environment where people know they matter once they're there. Belonging is the outcome of intentional leadership. It doesn't happen by accident. It happens because leaders choose every single day to create spaces where people feel respected, valued, and connected. As leaders, we often spend so much time talking about productivity, performance, and results. Those things matter. But here's what I've learned throughout my career. People give their best work where they feel they belong. When people feel safe, they contribute. When people feel respected, they collaborate. When people feel valued, they innovate. When people feel like they belong, they flourish. Belonging is not a soft idea. It is one of the strongest drivers of engagement, trust, innovation, and organizational performance. And here's the beautiful part. As leaders, we have tremendous influence over whether people experience belonging. It begins with something simple: seeing people. Not simply seeing their job title, not simply seeing their performance, seeing the human being. Every person on your team carries a story. Every person has experienced success. Every person has experienced disappointment. Every person brings different experiences, different strengths, different perspectives, and different challenges. The question is, do they believe those differences are welcomed? Or do they believe they need to hide parts of themselves just to fit in? There is a significant difference between fitting in and belonging. Fitting in asks people to change who they are. Belonging allows people to become more fully who they are. That is the environment great leaders create. One of the greatest responsibilities we have is creating space for every voice to be heard. Think about your meetings. Who speaks first? Who speaks often? Who rarely speaks at all? Whose ideas are consistently explored? Whose ideas are unintentionally overlooked? Sometimes exclusion isn't intentional. Sometimes it's simply unnoticed. And that's why awareness matters. Leadership requires us to notice the voices we haven't heard yet, because diversity gives us different perspectives. Inclusion invites those perspectives into the conversation. Belonging ensures those perspectives matter once they arrive. Those three ideas work together. One without the others is incomplete. Now let's talk about trust. Trust grows when leaders consistently model the behaviors they expect from others. If you want openness, be open. If you want honesty, be honest. If you want empathy, lead with empathy. If you want accountability, hold yourself accountable first. Your team is always watching. They're learning what matters, not from your policies, but from your behavior. One of the most powerful things a leader can say is, "I was wrong," or "I hadn't considered your perspective," or "Thank you for helping me see something I missed." Those moments don't weaken leadership. They strengthen it. Because humility builds trust, and trust creates belonging. Let's talk about transparency. People don't expect leaders to have every answer, but they do expect honesty. When difficult decisions have to be made, explain the why. When challenges arise, acknowledge them. When mistakes happen, own them. Transparency reduces uncertainty. It replaces rumors with clarity. It transforms confusion into understanding. And when people understand what's happening, they are far more likely to remain engaged, even during difficult seasons. Accountability is equally important. Inclusion cannot exist without accountability. If some people are held to different standards than others, trust begins to disappear. If harmful behaviors are ignored, people begin questioning whether the organization's values truly matter. Fairness matters. Consistency matters. Justice matters. People watch whether leaders protect values when it's uncomfortable. That's when credibility is built. And here's something I hope stays with you long after this lesson ends. Belonging is not created by one conversation. It's created by thousands of small moments. It's remembering someone's name. It's asking for someone's perspective. It's acknowledging effort. It's celebrating growth. It's checking in when someone seems unusually quiet. It's making room for someone else's success. Those moments seem small, but together, they create culture, and culture changes lives. I've often said that leadership is about strengthening the human spirit. I believe that with everything I have, because every person who walks into your organization is carrying hopes, dreams, responsibilities, families, and challenges. And every interaction you have with them either strengthens or weakens their experience. Never underestimate the power of a kind word, a thoughtful question, an encouraging conversation, or the simple act of helping someone feel like they belong. Because for some people, your workplace may become the first place they've ever truly experienced inclusion. Imagine that. Imagine the impact you could have simply by creating an environment where people no longer feel they have to prove they deserve a seat at the table. Instead, they know they already have one. That is leadership. That is humanity. That is belonging. So here's my challenge for you this week. Choose one person on your team whose voice you haven't heard enough. Invite them into the conversation. Ask for their perspective. Listen without interrupting. Learn something about their story. Then ask yourself 3 questions. Who on my team feels the strongest sense of belonging? Who might still be wondering if they belong? And what is one thing I can do this week to help someone know they matter? Because leadership is not measured by how many people report to you. Leadership is measured by how many people grow because of you. And one of the greatest gifts you can ever give another human being is this simple but powerful message. You belong here. You matter here. Your voice matters here. Your story matters here. And together, we are stronger because you are part of this team. I want to leave you with this final thought. People rarely remember every decision you made. They won't remember every meeting you led. They won't remember every presentation you gave, but they will always remember how your leadership made them feel. So build cultures where people feel respected. Build cultures where people feel valued. Build cultures where people feel safe. And build cultures where people belong. Because when people belong, they don't simply come to work. They bring their best selves. And that is where extraordinary leadership begins. Thank you for listening and your commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion. For more on inclusion, check out Chronicles of Belonging, as it takes you on a transformative journey, promoting open dialogues and self-reflection to build deeper understanding and empathy across diverse teams.